Blog Talk Radio.
One, four. Jesse Bell Smothers, do you know what that means? Of course you don't. And I'll tell you when I'm ready. 1414. Let me give you a little history lesson. For the first time ever, NWA Women's World Championship will be defended in Kingsport, Tennessee at NWA Smoky Mountain House Party 2014. 1414, Jesse Bell Smothers. I know who you are. I know your legacy. I know your father is synonymous with the NWA. I know what you bring to the table. And 1414, Jesse Bell Smothers, on January 4th, 2014, you will be toe-to-toe with Kacee Carlisle, the NWA Women's World Champion. And on January 4th, 1414, Jesse Bell Smothers, I want you to bring everything you have. I want you to take your fist. I want you to bring a baseball bat. I want your father in the front row so he can have an up-close personal view of Kacee Carlisle. Bells all over the ring, bells all over the building, but Jesse Bell Smothers, the only bell that will matter that night, will be the final bell before my arm is raised. Ding, ding. I'll see you in Kingsport.
You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
And it is for the WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. For the World Heavyweight Championship. The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the show. If you just tuned in at the top of the hour, you heard my scheduled guest, who is, some may know from her trademark look, colorful short, or short, fishnet. But she's more than just a body. She's collected several championships in the past year, and easily the most impressive title that she's captured is the NWA Women's World Championship, holding it for over some 400-plus days. She is the World Women's Champion. This is Kacee Carlisle. And let's see if she is available on the line right now. Miss Carlisle, is that you?
It is. How are you doing?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Fantastic. Glad to have you on the show. Glad you could make it in. And
thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, all right. And let's start off with, for those people that are listening right now, we want to make sure that we plug you, because we know that Kacee is quite active on the social media circuit. So if you would be so kind to drop your Facebook and Twitter and website, all that good stuff where fans and promoters can catch you.
Absolutely. I have my website, which is KaceeCarlisle.com. And as you said, I'm also on both Facebook and Twitter. I have two Facebook pages. One of them is a profile page, and one of them is a fan page. And my Twitter handle is @Kacee Carlisle. So it's all pretty easy to locate me, and I always invite everyone to, hit me up to follow me, and I try to be as interactive as possible with everybody online.
And that you are. I have seen your discussions, and you're a pretty friendly character online. I have to ask a question, because I know recently you just defended your championship as per that promo that just played. So let's put it out there. Do you have any comments to your previous challenger apparently she came up a little short. Is there anything that you would like to say to her now that you have completed that task? You got one down, another one to go.
The only thing I would have to say to Jessie Belle would be to say I told you so. That pretty much sums it up.
Okay, well, humble and good. Now, the next challenge is on the horizon. Barbie Hayden, is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. I'm going to be wrestling Barbie at NWA Houston on January 25th in Cyprus at the VFW Hall.
Now, any words of wisdom that you would like to pass on to Barbie? Because I know you have tangled with her before, and that match is on YouTube for people that have not had the opportunity to see you work. And you're going back again. You're going back again to defend the World's Championship. Is it going to be second verse, same as the first, or we expecting something a little bit different?
This will actually be our third meeting. I wrestled her both nights the last time I was down in Texas. The first night was at NWA Houston, and the second night is the match that's online, which was at NWA Branded Outlaw out of San Antonio. So this is actually going to be our third meeting, and, I'm just going down there, to once again defend the title. I'm expecting a tough match. The first two were tough, and she's had several months at this point, to continue to hone her skills and to prepare for the matchup. So I'm just going down there with the attitude of, just gritty competition, tough as nails. Third time is a charm, is what they say, but we're going to have to see who's going to end up wearing that charm at the end of the night.
Okay. You've been quite humble today, Ms. Carlisle, and I do appreciate your being considerate to your opponents and not trying to, dog them out on the air and whatnot. That's very kind of you. However, I have to see, you have your moments.
I have my moments.
Don't get mad now. I understand. Don't get upset with me now. I have to make an observation as I was doing my research with you. I seem to notice a bit of a trend in your presentation. The times that you were the challenger in these particular situations, you were generally speaking a very well-liked individual. As the champion, however, the attitude, shall we say, was a little bit different, a little bit more cutthroat.
Well, the attitude has to be there. It has to be a championship attitude. I go into each and every match ready to just ground and pound and kick some butt. And, especially when the NWA Women's World Title is on the line, it's heightened, and I'm even more prepared to go in there and just battle it out and do whatever I need to do in order to come home with the title.
Now, you just brought up the NWA Women's World Title, which I did mention at the top of the program. And interesting facts about the title, close to 80 years of existence, 79 years currently. And of that time, you are only the 31st champion of record. And as the 31st champion of record, I believe you're in the top 10 longest title reigns that exist. That being said, you've collected many championships other than the NWA World Championship, but what does the world title, particularly the NWA Women's World Title, mean to you?
Well, no pun intended. It means the world. That title, obviously the lineage there and the history and the prestige associated with both the NWA and the Women's World Title are second to none. And for me to be holding that title and to be able to represent the NWA as their women's champion is just a complete honor, something that I'm very privileged to do. And it really is, no matter what else happens in my career, being the NWA Women's World Champion will forever and always be definitely, if not the highlight, then one of maybe the top two highlights, It's something that comes with, after all of the hard work, after all of the miles on the road, all the bumps and bruises you come home with, it just makes everything just that much more worth it. And it truly is an honor for me, and it's something I'm very, very proud that I've accomplished.
All right. Now, I guess one of the things that most people may not realize about you is that you began a little bit differently than wrestling. You were a manager, and according to your records, it says you broke in '98, and you were managing pretty regularly. Well, you started managing regularly up in 2003. Now, why did you start in managing opposed to just jumping right into say, okay, I'm gonna toss it into wrestling?
At that point in time, I had not really gotten that far into my wrestling training, and I flat out refused to get into the ring until I felt that I was at a level where I could, go in there and be competent and do the business justice and have, a somewhat decent match for somebody who'd be just starting out. I didn't have, enough training under my belt, and I wasn't willing to make a spectacle of professional wrestling by going in there and fumbling around before I was ready. To this day, I carry the attitude that the business isn't going anywhere, and I just wanted to take my time and make sure that I was well trained and truly prepared to be inside the ropes.
Okay. How difficult was that transition to go from being the brains on the outside of the ring to being the worker on the inside?
It really wasn't a difficult transition for me at all, actually. Being on the outside of the ring as a manager, it was, a continuous learning experience. So you can learn so much by being in that position, by watching the match, the crowd interaction and so forth. It really is, you should consider all aspects a learning experience, and that's what I did. So when I did make that transition into the ring as a wrestler, it wasn't really all that difficult. It was different, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't completely in the dark as far as what I was getting myself into and how it should be handled.
Okay. Now, be honest with me now, Kacee. As a manager, how dirty were you?
Oh, well, I mean, I would say probably no less dirty than I am as a wrestler. I might have accidentally on purpose hung onto a wrestler's throat across the rope, or accidentally on purpose
Well, that caller has dropped right now. Kacee Carlisle is in the middle of telling us what was going on with her management career, but she just dropped off of the board, unfortunately. So hopefully she will make the call back and we can pick that conversation up. But apparently she was quite the scoundrel, shall we say, when she was available to do management on the outside of the ring. But I guess that's what managers do. You can't take it for granted. But I guess I can point out one other thing in her career is that Kacee Carlisle is pushing on to her 10th year pro in the business right now. She's a close to 10-year veteran, and I think she just popped back up on the line. Let me see here.
I am
Carlisle.
Sorry about that. I lost you.
It's okay.
My apologies.
You were just in the middle of going off into saying how accidentally and purposely you have I guess screwed some wrestlers out of a win for the benefit of your protege or your charge that evening.
Absolutely. I was pretty darn dirty. I was out there to help whatever wrestler I was managing score a victory. So I was ready, willing, and able to do whatever it took to do that.
And I can see how you might have been a fairly good manager because you're pretty boisterous in the ring. There's a lot of kind of talking to the crowd and talking to your opponent and talking with the referee. You seem to get up in a lot of people's faces there, Miss Carlisle. I
do. You're correct about that. I am very vocal in the ring, just kind of, I have no problem being in there and giving everybody a piece of my mind and telling them exactly what I think of them, whether it's the crowd, my opponent, the referee, commentators at ringside. I have no problem doing so, and they get to sit there and take it.
I guess they do have to sit there and take it. You are the champion. As you dropped out, I was just explaining to the listeners here that you are almost 10 years pro in the business. Well, you're in your 9th year, I believe, right now?
I am, yes. The end of July will mark 9 years of my in-ring wrestling career, yes.
So you are a near 10-year veteran. That is impressive, especially on this end of the business. Sometimes some of the ladies' careers haven't gone quite as long as yours has. Is there any secret to the longevity? And do you have the young, or let's call them the newbies, constantly challenging your spot?
I don't really think there's any secrets from me necessarily. I make it a point to take care of my body as much as I can, as far as nursing any bumps and bruises I may have. I like to follow the theory of working smart, meaning you don't see me taking a whole lot of high risk, putting myself in high risk situations and so forth. And one of the reasons for that is because it, things like 450 splashes and, top rope maneuvers and things like that don't really mesh with my style. But the other reason is because I do want the longevity, and I don't want to put myself in a situation where I end up being injured or shorten my career in any way. This business is what my world revolves around, and I want to be able to be involved with it as much as I can and as long as I can. As far as the girls coming up in the business now, there's always out there willing and waiting to take your spot. It's not necessarily the same on the independents as it would be in a national company as far as taking that spot, but it is still in theory there and for the taking. It's just a matter of staying active, staying on top of your game, and just being better than that other person.
Well, that's true. Now, granted, you just pointed out the difference there. You said it's not the same as being in a national company per se, but you do have a championship that kind of binds you amongst the nation, which is, I would assume, to be a pretty coveted position. You are the NWA World Champion. So, would you say that it's safe to say that there are other people that are looking, wanting, and desiring to be the next NWA Women's Champion to try to supersede the bar that you've set?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the business is full of girls who would love to challenge me for the title and end up coming out of the match victorious and being the new champion. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who wouldn't be. It's, as I said before, it's an honor. It's the NWA Women's World Title. It's a prestigious title with a lot of history, and I think anyone really would have that as a goal at some point in their career to not only challenge the title, but hopefully end up scoring the victory and becoming the new champion.
Yeah. But I'm sure you'll have something to say about that for as long as you can.
Oh, I would say, A for effort, keep on trying. I'm prepared and have been prepared to fight tooth and nail for this title. And so whoever it may be that's standing across the ring from me can expect to have quite a brutal match on their hands. If anyone's going to, defeat me for the title, then they're definitely going to have to earn it.
Understood. And to those listening again, just want to reiterate, if you are now tuning in, you are listening to NWA Women's World Champion Kacee Carlisle. If you want to catch the full version, because you may have just popped in, you can go to blogtalkradio.com/The Wrestling Show, or you can go to our sister channel, the YouTube channel, the Women's Pro Wrestling Network, and you will be able to get all of that good stuff in both of those places, along with archived interviews. But there is no interview quite like the World Champion interview, because Kacee is on the line, and how much greater can it get than that? Well, it's the truth, isn't it?
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, no problem. Now, here's the thing that we like to ask guests that come on the show about the dream opponents, because there's always a theory that there's somebody out there that you really want to get into the ring with. So this is what I want you to think on here. One current piece of talent, either indie or national, and one fantasy talent.
The current talent that I would pick, believe it or not, would be Leilani Kai. She was an active wrestler when I was a child and when I first started watching wrestling, and she was just, tough, rough, a great competitor, both in her singles career and as well as in her tag team career. And I really just admired everything about her. So I know that she's actively wrestling today. So, that would be something that I would just be in complete awe of. My fantasy opponent, if I had the chance, which unfortunately I will not, would have been Sherry Martel. I would have loved to have gotten into the ring with her. She was another woman who was active, when I first started watching wrestling, and I was just exposed to her style, her, I actually have been told many times that with my, being so vocal and my style of wrestling and so forth, have reminded people of her, which I think is completely humbling and a huge compliment to me, because she was another one I just absolutely admired, and I was like, wow, this woman can really, kick anyone's butt. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter. I'm like, she can probably even take on the guys. And here I am, a kid, saying that. So, unfortunately, as I said, I won't have that opportunity. But had I have had that opportunity, it would have been a thrill.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you keep Sherry's legacy alive with all the yelling that you do in the ring.
Oh, thank you.
Sherry was quite vocal. She, in that regard, you remind me of her a lot. So, yes. So there you go. You can keep up the legacy of Sherry Martel. Now,
well, I appreciate that.
No problem at all. Now, I have to add on an additional portion to that question, because you fall into a little bit of a different category, because you are a world's champion. By definition, you're not a company champion. You get to go travel around and take on whoever basically wants a shot at the title. It's a little bit of a two-parter. Would you be willing to do a champion versus champion match? And if you had the opportunity, what current champion would you take?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. That, to be honest with you, yes, I would be. I think that always has a lot of intrigue and piques a lot of interest when there's a scenario such as that. As far as who I'd want to take on, I would have to give that some thought. There's such an array of women to choose from in that respect. I would have to think that one over and, really give that some consideration and get back to you on it. That's really an excellent question. That's one I've never been asked before and honestly never thought of.
Well, good. I've done my job. I got your question that was off the cuff. Yeah, well, hey, I try. I try my best. And if you can think of, if you want to narrow that field down, because yes, I know there's dozens and dozens and dozens of championships. I guess for the sake of this, for you to think on, let's narrow it down to, say, the major recognized women's title. We'll say titles. We'll say Shimmer, WSU, Shine, Divas, and Knockouts. Those are the five. Now you can take that and you can think on it. Get back with me. No rush. And I'll apologize to the people out there who may be waiting, because they may want to hear that so they can pass that on to the other person and they can get a fight going. Y'all gotta wait a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's check back in later for details.
There you go. Check back in later. Just be sure to send that over to us so that I can release that information. We want the people to know. And I must say, just for the sake of this, also there is a Facebook page for Women's Pro Wrestling Network, which also has an article on one Kacee Carlisle and why she is separate from all the rest of the champions that exist on the scene right now. It's a brand new page, so you can be probably fan number 2 or 3 at this point. So, go in there and give it a read. All right, now moving on. Career goals for Kacee Carlisle. You've already hit one. You've gotten one of the big ones off of your list. You are a world champion. So, is there anything that you're looking forward to accomplish down the line?
Really my goals are just to stay healthy, to continue to have the opportunity to be active as a wrestler. I really would enjoy getting to do some international work, if at all possible, at some point in time. And there's several areas of the United States that I have yet to travel to. So I really just I'm just open to anything. I'm truly so thankful to be able to do what I do. Any opportunity that comes my way or any new experience that I'm able to have is something that I welcome with open arms. So whether it be, eventually hitting all 50 states, whether it be doing international work, or, whether it be down the line moving on in, maybe a role as a trainer or something like that. I'm open to everything, and I just hope to have those opportunities as time goes on.
Mm-hmm. Have you been to Georgia yet? You said you haven't hit all 50 states, so I'm just going to ask for selfish reasons now. Have you been in Atlanta?
I've been near Atlanta, and I've also been to Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Near isn't good. You have to be in Atlanta. You got to be in here.
I've been in Atlanta before, but I didn't wrestle there. It was just outside of it. And then Blue Ridge I don't think it's terribly far from Atlanta, but I've been there as well.
Blue Ridge is about 3 hours up.
Okay, yeah, that's not too bad.
Had to cover a show up there, yes. So now that you bring that up, shout out to the great Cheyenne. So, yes. Who maybe could be one of your opponents one day.
Perhaps so, you never know.
And that would be great. I would love to say that I spoke that and made that true. What territory do you typically work, just for the sake of the promoters out there who want to know what your stomping grounds are? What area are you generally good with?
Am I generally good with or more frequently?
And more frequently, thank you. That's probably a better way to put it.
I'm typically in like the Mid-Atlantic area. That's where I'm based out of at the moment. So, I have a lot of appearances in North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania at times. I haven't been to Pennsylvania in a while, but normally, that general area, since I'm based in that area, that's typically where the majority of my appearances take place. But, as I said, ready and willing, have boots will travel.
That seems to be the common phrase amongst the wrestlers I have interviewed. Have boots will travel. That seems to be the one. So, needless to say, although you are in the Mid-Atlantic area, typically you will travel where is necessary.
If I have the opportunity to wrestle, then I travel is no big deal. It's not rare for me to be in my car for hours on end, to get to a show. This is what I love to do. So yeah, absolutely.
All right. Now, for those of you that's listening to the live stream of this, the live portion of it is about to shut down, and we're going to go over to the B-side, if you will. This is the portion of the show that's available for strict download only. So you can go on to Blog Talk, pull up the rest of this, or you can get the rest of it straight off of YouTube, whichever one holds your fancy, or whichever one's more convenient. And perhaps would have given it thought to what her champion versus champion scenario would be, so it'll give you a little bit more of an enticing to possibly listen into this portion of the show. I've just gone with career goals. Now, here's the point where you get to be the teacher to some of those young talents that's out there. pros and cons of the entertainment / wrestling business, because we all know that there's some pros and there's some cons out there. Would you care to share the pros or the cons of the business?
The business as a whole, there's a lot of ups and downs, pros and cons. For me personally, in my opinion, the pros would be, the fact that you're getting to be inside of a wrestling ring. You're getting to do what I'm sure there are thousands upon thousands of people would like to do. It is and it should be considered a privilege to be in the wrestling business. It's not for everybody, and certainly it's something, that should be earned and that should be appreciated if you are lucky enough to be in the business. One of the cons on the flip side, you do encounter some people who maybe don't have the best of intentions at heart, who, are trying to make a fast buck or trying to, are out there for themselves in many ways. And by being in that position, they end up sabotaging the business, sabotaging the business as a whole and the wrestlers involved in it. It's just, that's with any business, I think, though. You have people who truly care about what they're doing and care about the larger picture, and then you have people who are very, short-sighted and operate with blinders on. So it's just a matter of, being smart, keeping your eyes open, and just, kind of taking things as they come. And when you do encounter one of those, negative situations or so forth, you just try to learn something from it and move on and not replicate it.
All right. Now, you seem to be pretty bright, smart, attractive young lady. Why the wrestling business? Although you could probably be doing anything else in the world, why the wrestling business? I mean, I see you're infatuated with it. You love it, and clearly you must have been a true at heart fan when you were a kid. But what made you get that extra push? Why did you decide, I'm going to get in that ring, I'm going to do that?
It does all go back to being that kid and that fan who just absolutely fell head over heels in love with it. I love the thrill of, the thrill it brings to entertain people. I love giving people that kind of escape from life for a few minutes. It's a joy for me to not only be able to be doing what I'm doing and something that I grew up wanting to do, but then, to see people being entertained at the shows, to see them being able to maybe, forget about some bad things they have going on in their life, or the bills that are piled up at home, or, anything negative like that. It's a thrill for me to be able to go out there and to entertain them and to be able to, interact with them and involve them in the match. That's one of the reasons I think that I am so vocal during my matches, is because they paid their hard-earned money to have a seat at ringside and watch us do what we love to do. So I want to be able to give them as much of, quality entertainment, quality wrestling that they've paid their money to sit there. That's what they're looking for. They're not there because, they don't want to be. They're there because they chose to be there, because they're wrestling fans. So it's just a joy for me to be able to be out there and to provide them with that. All
right, fair enough. And, I still say, there's a lot of you that I say this to. You could be doing anything else in the world. You could probably be in front of a camera acting. You could be modeling or whatnot. Clearly you have the talent
the physical
for it.
Drama. It's the physical drama. It's not it's not just standing in front of a camera and doing, here's a pose and here's a pose and here's a pose. It's getting to, it's a little bit more involved. It's taking people on that roller coaster ride and giving the theatrical side of it to them, but in a physical manner where, it's not just, it's just kind of the best of both worlds, in my opinion.
Understood. Never let it be said that Kacee Carlisle is not true to the wrestling business. I think that would be a grave injustice. But if you were not wrestling, what would you be doing?
Oh my gosh.
Another stumper.
Tell you. Another stumper. I don't know. It's hard to say what I'd be doing because I don't know. I just, it's just hard to say. It could be anything from, being a photographer to, maybe trying my hand at acting or something along those lines. But, nothing really interested me other than professional wrestling. I think that, there might have been a week or two I wanted to be a firefighter or something like that. But, this is what I've been focused on since I was 8. So it's really kind of been the end-all, be-all for me from that point forward.
Wow. All right. And let it be reiterated that according to record, you won the title in December of 2011, and you are still hanging tough. So you are currently one of the longest reigning champions today, and that says a lot.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. It's something, as I said, it's a big honor for me.
Yeah, you deserve a little pat on the back there.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. And finally, we're going to bring it and see if anything has come through your mind as of yet. Now, if it hasn't, that's understandable. We can get that posted a little later on. But I would be remiss if I did not ask again for those that may have tuned in to kind of hopefully catch that answer. So, question again for those that may have forgotten. Kacee Carlisle, the scenario, NWA Women's World Champion, is out on the road and she is making an open challenge, and that person that she makes the challenge to, or the championship that she makes the challenge for, is
bum bum bum. This is an excellent reason for everybody to visit your Facebook page that you just created, so they can come back and see my exclusive answer.
Oh, I love it. That's what wrestling teaches right there, folks. Staying on your feet. That's beautiful. Beautiful answer. And you can read the article about yourself when you go in there too. So
I intend
how about
to.
that?
Thank you. Yeah, that was actually cool to hear.
I hope that you enjoy it.
I'm sure that I will.
I do want to say I enjoyed having you on the show. Leave open doors for everybody to come back. I hope that when you got some big event that's going on or a big match coming up, I can bring in so you can talk it up or whatever the case may be. And for that matter, maybe we can showcase you on the YouTube channel as well, because people love to see the matches. That's the real kicker right there. They want to see you do your thing. And if you haven't seen a Kacee Carlisle leg drop from the top rope, then you're missing out. Just have to say that.
Well, thank you. I absolutely would love to come back on at any time. It's been most enjoyable. Absolutely. And yes, everyone go check out YouTube.
Yes. And just the plug for Kacee Carlisle's YouTube channel as well. Not just me alone, but Kacee Carlisle. So you can find that on Women's Pro Wrestling Network, all one word. That's the YouTube channel. And Kacee Carlisle has her own YouTube channel that features all of her good stuff. And watch her drop that big leg drop. I don't know if you got a name for it, but we just call it the big leg drop from the top.
That works for me. Hey, that works too. That's perfect.
Well, I was going to go with Alabama Jam, but you're not actually from Alabama, so, doesn't necessarily work quite as well.
No. Good try, though.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time.
If I ever move to Alabama, we'll name it that.
We will rename it the Alabama Jam. Or if you come to Atlanta, we'll just call it the Atlanta Jam. That has a better ring.
There you go.
Thank you. A privilege to have the world's champion come on, and I hope to have you again.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciated it and had a great time. We'll definitely do it again sometime.
Thank you very much, and thank you for everybody that's tuned in and downloaded this MP3. Be sure to check us both out on all of her various social network sites. Facebook, Kacee Carlisle, Twitter, Kacee Carlisle, YouTube, Kacee Carlisle, and, of course, Women's Pro Wrestling Network, all one word on YouTube and Facebook. You can catch the page there, and you will find this on Blog Talk Radio, The Wrestling Show. So it's all there, and for everybody, I want to say thanks for tuning in, and for Miss Kacee Carlisle, the world's champion, she would like to thank you as well, even though she's still there, but thank you as well.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Goodbye, everybody.
Billy Graham.
Yeah, thank you, baby. This is the man. I'm the man of the hour. I'm the man with the power. Too sweet to be sour. Superstar Billy Graham. I got more moves, David, than a bowl of Jell-O. And you know Jell-O got a lot of moves. Look at my arm. I'm Superstar Billy Graham, the man with the biggest arm. The man who does the most harm. I eat T-bone steaks. I live barbell plates. I'm getting sweeter than a dripper chocolate cake. If you don't have a color television, this will make your TV color just by looking at Superstar Billy Graham. I am the most colorful man in all of wrestling. I am the man with the biggest arms. I am the man with the most charm. I am the man that can't be beat. I am the man that is awfully sweet. Superstar Billy Graham, the women's pet, the men's regret. What you see is what you get, and what you don't see is better yet. Superstar Billy Graham, Rose with a 24-inch arm.
This is Mr. Green, and you're listening to The Show.
The rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
Professional wrestling as it was meant to be. Ass kicking, take no names, beat the hell out of whoever's in front of you.